I'll make a New Year's resolution for all of us. Can we just be kind? Like, I love your opinions. You don't have to love mine, but we can respect each other's opinions. Hi guys, thanks for watching Mom Talks Wrestling. I'm Mom. This week I'm just going to cover Raw. But first, I want to introduce you to the coolest gift my son got. Well, one of them. He got a lot of WWE things. Or are they from me? I don't know. He got a Bo Dallas, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, and Sheamus. But this is cool because look, you can beat him up. Whoa, okay, calm down. All right, so this week on Raw, I love Vince McMahon coming out, right? He's just like a caricature of himself. You know, his little swagger, not little, a lot of swagger that he has walking down. He's crazy. But it was kind of infuriating. Like, he and Roman Reigns just could not keep the crowd's attention. So of course they're chanting things like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. And that has to be really hard. Like, you have to be great on the mic to entertain and to captivate an audience. If you're not, they're gonna get bored. And I feel like the Brooklyn crowd got really bored. And so they were kind of like a disrespectful audience. Can I say that? I mean, I don't know if that's weird to talk about wrestlers, like wrestling audiences like that, but they just weren't into it. So of course I would blame like the talent on that, talent and creative, because it wasn't creative at all. I think that Vince McMahon came out and decided to put himself out there for Roman Reigns because he's like, I made Stone Cold Steve Austin, I made John Cena, I made The Rock, and I will make Roman Reigns. And it just isn't working. The whole thing was just like really hard to watch. It was goofy, it was silly, I just wasn't into it. It almost made me like heartbroken because the Raw after TLC, was it? Whenever the title switched hands, that was a great Raw. It was awesome. And then we're here. Like, how did we get here? And how did we get a champ that just smirks at the, and says things that aren't insults, or maybe they are, but they're just so juvenile in his delivery and the things that he says that it's just like, oh, shut up, Roman Reigns. Am I the only one who feels that way? Because I've said before, I'm excited that he's champ because I got behind him because I didn't want Sheamus to be champ, and I like the way he got over because he turned on his bosses and just like laid into them. I wanted him to go like, wow, I will defeat all of you and I will claim what's mine. And so that's when he takes to the bosses. And now instead of like still being tough to the bosses or like this real like beast, he's just kind of like this snarky 7th grader. I feel like he's a 7th grade boy who's like still trying to figure out who he is. Roman Reigns, to me, if he would have kept being like a beast that he was after he beat up his bosses and maintained that toughness and I want to say like confidence in his ability and how superior he is and how he will claim what's his and he won't let anything get in his way. If he would have maintained that, I could still be behind Roman Reigns. But he hasn't. Instead, he's like a middle school child who is going through all these changes and doesn't know exactly who they are or their identity yet. And they're still figuring out things and trying new things. And that's what he's doing to me. I mean, he gets on the mic and he gives these insults that aren't insults and these smirks, and it's like, it just looks goofy. It just seems silly. And so it's like, ugh, this guy's champ now? Like, well, where's the guy that beat up Vince McMahon and Triple H and really stuck it to Stephanie? Like, where's he at? I want him. I want him to be champion. Not this guy who comes out and says, you sound like a kid. I noticed in the crowd, someone had a sign that said, push Sasha. And I couldn't agree more, right? She was awesome in NXT. And so I really wanted her to get that push that I feel like she deserved to help that Divas Revolution, right guys? Remember that? And she hasn't. I mean, okay. But when she was wrestling Becky, I enjoyed it because they're good wrestlers. Like, they're good, right? And it just like struck me as odd as like the Brooklyn crowd. I mean, I guess it's not odd. It's like the difference between like a smart mark and just like a casual fan, I guess. But the Brooklyn crowd wasn't into it, and it kind of bummed me out because what was happening was good. Like, it was entertaining and it was women's wrestling. I feel like if that match would have happened in NXT, the crowd would have responded much differently. They always do. They can be totally annoying, but they would have like loved that. They would have been like respecting those girls and just like saying, this is awesome. You know how they do. And so it kind of bummed me out when the Brooklyn crowd couldn't get behind that. And it's like, guys, this is women's wrestling. This is what we want, or at least what I want as a woman and as someone who wishes that they would give more to these ladies in wrestling besides just like cute outfits and like hair flips and silly little comebacks on the mic. Like, I want a storyline and I want wrestling. I mean, storylines have kind of been like underdeveloped. All right, guys. John Cena came back to save wrestling. I've said this, at least I think I've said it. I've always liked Alberto Del Rio, so I'm like excited he's back. And it pained me to say this, but I was excited for John Cena to come back. We've been needing him. I mean, it's just been lacking so much, right? What's interesting to me is I feel like the storyline between John Cena and Alberto Del Rio is more intriguing than the storyline that's happening with Roman Reigns. Like, it almost makes me feel like the US Championship belt means more than the Heavyweight Championship belt. John Cena has that ability, and until you put someone with the ability, I guess, to make it meaningful, to make any belt meaningful, then it's not going to be. I think that's why Kevin Owens is so great fighting for the IC title, because he's an awesome heel. He's great in the ring. He's great on the mic. I feel like he kind of gives it this value that it hasn't had in so long. So I'm excited for the IC title and now the US Championship belt. Alberto Del Rio is great in the ring. I mean, I like him. And I can always get behind like a bunch of guys coming up and beating up John Cena. I mean, not a John Cena girl, but I will give the man props to help making wrestling what it is. So there. Like, what can I do to make Roman Reigns like mean more? So this is what I was thinking, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I saw the news broke that The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania. Woo, that's exciting. And you know how they keep putting everything on Roman Reigns and like his family and the Samoan dynasty and the Usos and whatever. So do you think now that it's going to be like The Rock's gonna come out again to like save Roman Reigns and be like, no one messes with my family, and then beat up Triple H? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. I kind of feel like they need The Rock to make Roman Reigns mean something. I mean, he needed that push before. It just sucks. I'm just like sad, I guess, or bummed out that there's more evolving in the storylines. I feel like they have a lot of good wrestlers, but they're not taking time to like develop their characters to help them with their mic skills, you know? And I mean, I don't know what the training's like for WWE. Like, do they give them improv classes? Do they give them scripts to memorize? And if they do give them scripts to memorize, then give them someone to coach them on how to just naturally talk on the mic and like present yourself to a live audience. I mean, that's part of the entertainment business. Like, you can't just be able to do one half wrestling and not the other half of entertaining. I mean, sports entertainment. You gotta be able to do both to make it great, which is why I miss Seth Rollins. So guys, I know that the Slammies are booty, but I will say this. Adrian Neville got the Breakout Star of the Year, and so they were able to play that little snippet, that montage of him on Raw, and it kind of made him like relevant again. It kind of pushed him back into that storyline. It was exciting to see him wrestle Kevin Owens. I mean, I've always been a high flyer girl. I love all the high flyers, so it was cool to watch him. I mean, I've missed seeing him in the like on screen. I mean, I liked him in NXT, liked him on Raw. I mean, of course, I wish that characters were developed more and storylines were deeper and more entwined or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why Total Divas needs to come back, because the storylines over there bled into the Raw, and it was interesting. But who am I, right? I tweet at 432ELC hashtag Mom Talks Wrestling. My Tumblr's Mom Talks Wrestling, and this YouTube channel, Mom Talks Wrestling. You can like or dislike, comment. Let's talk about wrestling. I mean, I want to talk about wrestling with you. Come on. This thing is so fickle. Yeah. How cool is this? Alright, peace out.